This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 165.
I set up dummy emails and emailed you guys from different email accounts to see if your answers were consistent.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. He recommends going to Smoke Barbecue in Fort Lauderdale. Clay Trader.
Yes, and our esteemed co-host Chezz was there. But Chezz, remember Fort Lauderdale? We went to that barbecue place. Are you recalling any of this?
Of course I am. It was an amazing barbecue, and they had a bunch of great sauces.
Yeah, so Smoke Barbecue in Fort Lauderdale. Not only do I back up Chezz in his comments, it was awesome barbecue, but the owner is, he's a stand-up individual. Long story short, I had my USMC, United States Marine Corps t-shirt on because my brother-in-law was in the Marines. He said, "Hey, did you serve?" I said, No, my brother-in-law did. He said, "Hey, that's right. I still appreciate the service." And then he hooked us up with a discount. So if you're looking to help, I'm assuming he's a former vet, then definitely check out Smoke Barbecue in Fort Lauderdale. Like Chezz said, and I agree with, food is awesome, but I think the owner, I'm assuming he was the owner, but he's even that much better of a guy. So definitely check it out if you want to help out a good guy and get some good barbecue. Would you agree, Chezz? He was a good guy. You knew about the discount, right?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that because you had ordered after me. But yeah, I thought it was amazing that he still kind of offered that discount. And I would venture to say he's definitely the owner. But yeah, he's an awesome guy. And if you're down in Fort Lauderdale, you should go check it out. The food was amazing, and the owner is awesome. Yeah,
for sure. Today we have actually a two-parter. So for those of you that like to kind of binge listen, maybe just hold off and wait until the second part comes out. But we were talking with Peter, and neither Chezz or I have any idea how to pronounce his name. We do talk about his alias in the chat room, Toxo, Phil, something like that. But we talk about it more in the podcast. But yeah, assume you see it's a two-parter. So yeah, the journey was quite exciting. Lots of stuff going on. And I don't want to offer up too many spoilers, but I will say that just from more of a personal finance perspective, Brian has set up something with him and his wife called the Financial Freedom Fund, the Financial Freedom Account. And I think it makes a whole lot of sense, and just everything that surrounds it, to me, it's a smart way to go about things. And talk about adversity, and Chezz and I, we talk all the time about no excuses, but in this journey, Brian has one of the rare excuses where Chezz and I would probably be like, all right, hall pass granted, but
yeah.
He had a tornado and literally a tree fell through his house. So I'll just leave it at that. But needless to say, Brian's been through a lot, but Chezz and I, we love his approach. We think he's going about things in a very methodical and a very smart way. So without further ado, let's get to hearing about Brian in part one. Brian, welcome to the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
Now, Chezz and I both have a bone to pick with you. We were just doing it previously, but we were asking, hey, have you listened to any of the past podcasts, just to kind of gauge what I always like to make sure, do you really know what you're getting yourself into? And you said you're up to episode 134, you said?
Yes.
And we're at like episode right now 150-ish or something like that. But my esteemed co-host Chezz rightfully called you out and just said, you've been slacking. I mean, we discovered you're a teacher on spring break right now. So, I mean, you kind of... You got to get it. And was that Pongo? What dog was that?
That wasn't my dog for once.
That was my dog, Sayla.
And your dog agrees with us too. You've been slacking, Brian. So
16 hours a day, 16 podcasts a day. You'll be caught up in no time. That's the point of spring break, isn't it? I mean, especially when you're a teacher. So I'm sure you just want to do much more work.
Well, I like how Chezz is giving you 8 hours of sleep. That's nice of you, Chezz. I was thinking more like you only need 4 hours. I mean, come on. So Chezz, what a nice guy.
Well, I'm getting 6, so...
Well, let's cut that to 2
hours of free time. Yeah,
yeah. Awesome. Now I'm looking at your screen name right now, and can you tell me how I'm supposed to pronounce that?
It's the toxopholite.
Toxopholite.
And you have to say that the rest of the podcast, Clay.
Yeah. Okay. So for you community members in the chat room, yeah, I'd say Brian's in there quite a bit. I'm not saying your name, but TOXOPHILITE is the alias He uses it. Okay,
Yeah.
Chezz just sent me something. Toxolite. Toxopholite. Is that right?
Yes.
Soft. Okay. Thank you,
Toxopholite.
Chezz.
Phonetically
It-
spelled
it's
for you.
not- it was
I know you needed the
close.
help
It was
there.
close.
I know. Yeah, Chezz knows me. I definitely knew that. What is that? I have no idea. Is that like some sort of prescription pill or what? That was a joke. If I had a guess, though, my serious guess would be: are you like a audio junkie? Does that have something to do with audio?
Or
Absolutely
is it
not.
like a geode of some kind? Is it a
No.
rock?
Not even
Damn,
close.
it's close.
I actually worked at a camp for 9 years, and I was certified in lots of different things. I was a lifeguard certified, high rope certified, and I was also an archery instructor. And the toxopholite means lover of the bow. So I was a level 1 archery instructor at one point.
How many levels are there?
3. But the only difference, so level 1 is all the skills are the same. Level 2, you make your own strings, and level 3, you make your own bow.
Okay, I thought level 3 was like Legolas, Lord of
No.
the Rings. No, that has
No, the
That's
skills.
level 5.
Yeah, the skills
Well,
don't
yeah.
change. The skills don't change.
just the ability to craft the bow change. It sounds like.
Yeah. So
Okay,
yeah, so the toxopholite means lover of the bow.
lover of toxopholite. That's actually really. Is that like a real word, or is that like an Indian name or something that means lover of the bow? Or is that, if I were to look
it's-
that up, is that in the dictionary?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we're a Google
And it-
away.
That's true.
One quick Google away.
Anyways, we're not going to turn this into
bow
people are already
podcast.
screaming. I can see it right now. Get to the story.
Clay,
So
are
we
we trying to
will.
get into bow hunting? I thought we were going to talk about that for the next hour.
I was taught. Yeah, I don't know about hunting, but bow. Yeah, Chezz, you're not. Come on, Chezz, you're better than this. Now you're trying to lead me down other rabbit holes that people just.
You didn't fall for it. That's okay. Got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I'm staying flexible over here. All right, Brian. There's no way I'm talking you toxopholite or whatever that toxopholite.
That's fine. Brian is fine.
But all right, cool. So, well, you're a teacher on spring break. So, first
I am.
off, in all seriousness, thank you for taking some time out of spring break to share your story. And
Oh,
you
well,
also volunteered to do this. So, again, from Chezz and I, we thank you very much. You definitely make our life easier when it comes to just continuing to have guests, much better than having to pull teeth. So, I appreciate the courage. But let's get this party started. And where did all of this start for you? Where did you first hear about the markets, and then kind of what happened to make you want to get a little bit more involved with them, a little bit more hands-on?
Okay, yeah. So I have a mentor, and shortly after I got married, my mentor suggested that I need to start looking for ways to expand my income, because I don't know if you know anything about teacher pay in Oklahoma, but I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. But teachers don't get paid a whole lot here. So my mentor was like, yeah, you need to start expanding. Look for ways to expand your plate, if you will. And so I started reading a ton of books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, like all those stereotypical financial money books. And about that same time, so this relates eventually, but my wife gets up and she hasn't been training at all. She goes and runs like 13 miles. I'm like, wait, what? So we're both science teachers. I teach chemistry, robotics, and biology, and my wife teaches biology as well. So when she gets back, we start talking about how are you able to do that just without any training? Because we were pretty sedentary, and we are talking about the things that you do in your formative years, like stick with you, lay a foundation. And so she ran cross country whenever she was in middle school. When I was in middle school, I actually participated in a stock market competition, and I won it by, I don't remember the specific amount, I don't remember what I traded, but when I was in 8th grade, I won this state stock market simulation trading thing. I remember going to the Capitol and...
Wow, for the state? That's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
state. Okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah, so won that, and then so we're in this conversation
Just,
about...
I got to cut you off. How
Okay.
do you win? You won the state?
Yeah.
So you're a state champion.
Oh, yeah, sure. If you want to think about that,
Okay.
yes. A state
All right,
champion
cool.
in stock market trading.
Okay. How do you not remember anything about what you traded?
Well, I was in 8th grade.
Long mine.
I know, but I mean, were you manipulating it with like penny stocks, or was there like rules against that?
No. It wasn't.
Okay,
it wasn't,
so it was at least legitimate stocks.
Yes. I think
Okay.
I started with. I think it started with 100. We each had 100,000 to start with, and I think I ended with like 2 million. But I'm not 100% sure there.
Okay. That's not, well, I just bring that up because I don't know, a few episodes ago we had somebody and they're like, yeah, and I ended up winning it because, I loaded up on, like, they figured out the penny stock wrinkle, which is cool for like a competition like that, but in reality, due to liquidity, doesn't. But okay, so
sure. I didn't trade penny stocks. It was a bigger board thing. It was like bigger board stocks. So
okay, all right.
I
So
don't remember what they were. But
well, I'm kind of nervous now. I'm talking to a state champion, so man, I gotta.
You should be. Watch out.
Yeah, I feel like I should have brought my suit or something. But anyway, sorry to cut you off. But so you won this competition, and you can pick the story back up from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I won the competition. So my wife and I are talking. Hey, and remember at the time I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and if you've read the book, he mentions the stock market, and then he actually has a board game called Cash Flow. Have you ever played it?
I have not.
Okay,
but Clay's looking it up right now to go buy it, I'm sure.
It's actually it's really fun if you're into finance stuff, which I know you are.
I'm actually gonna Google it right now.
So cash flow in this game, your objective is to get out of the rat race, and so like you're going in a circle, and the way you get out of the rat race is expanding your income. That you basically expand it so it's greater than your expenses from passive income. And one of the ways you can get money in there is buying stocks. And so we're playing this like around that time we were having this conversation, and I had this revelation. I was like, wait a second. So I could buy, because you could buy it at $1 in the game and then sell it for 40 later on. And so I was like, wait a second. So I bought 10,000 shares of $1 and then sold it for $40 later in this game, and I won it really quickly. And then I discovered, if I do that over and over again, I'll make a ton of money. So, all that being said, I started looking into the stock market because I didn't know anything about it in real life. I started researching, like, how does it actually work? Like, if I just go sell it, does it just sell to the, like, abyss, or does someone have to buy it from me?
Sure.
Do I have to go and, like, market myself for someone to buy the stock? I didn't know. So I start looking into brokers specifically for education purposes because I'm a teacher. So I'm like, I don't know anything about this. I need to learn, figure out and learn about this stuff. So the other thing in this whole situation is with our budget, we actually have a line in our budget where we call it the financial freedom account, where basically my wife and I have looked at our budget and said, okay, we can afford to put this much money aside for us to do, that's for me to play with to expand our income. So whether that's buying books, whether that's paying for or funding a trading account, which is what we're doing with it now, or whether that's paying for Clay Trader University, that money is for me to do whatever I want with, for me to expand our income.
Well, I know Clay has been crying since you said the word budget, and
Chezz, you really do know me.
Anything further, but
you have no idea how much I had to bite my tongue to not interrupt Brian again and not go on a rant about, wait, did he say budget? And I also heard the words we, so it sounds like you and your wife are fully on board.
Oh yeah, no, my wife is amazing. Like in the I've only been live for 3 weeks, and I've texted her every day, just hey, I'm down this much, or hey, I'm up this much, and every day she's like, you know what, it's okay. If you lose all that money, it doesn't matter. We still have the money in our budget. I have faith in you. Keep going. So she's awesome. So, but yeah,
sounds like you got to keep her.
Oh, absolutely. She definitely married down. But anyways,
I think they all marry down. I know Chezz
Right.
and I married up too. So
absolutely.
And just to make a point, we've covered this many times, but you really can't cover this enough. If you're thinking of getting into the market in any facet, don't never do anything behind somebody's back, but make sure that your significant other is on board. And in this case, they're really on board. She fully supports you, but not to take anything away from her or you, but that's really just the power of a budget. They can be supportive of it because they see the numbers and they're like, those numbers are there for a reason. And the reason is this. So yeah, we can support this because the numbers are there. Whereas when people don't have budgets and they're like, are you using money that we can't even afford? That's
Right.
where a lot of stress comes into play. But primo example of the power of a budget. So yeah, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
That's great that she's on board, but it's, would you agree though, Brian? It's a lot easier to be on board with something when you have a specific line item in your budget.
Oh, 100%. In fact, I probably look at our budget daily just to see, because I know where every single cent is going. In fact, if I should actually email you our budget, because our budget spreadsheet predicts like 5 to 6 years in the future. So I can put it in, and I can see how a decision will affect us 3 years down the road. But
this is a spreadsheet that you designed the spreadsheet. This isn't like an app or one of those like Mint or something like that.
No. I designed it. I put in all the equations. It has like 3 different pages. It has one for gifts and like we have all the family members listed and how much we want to spend on them for gifts, and that's a different page. And the first page pulls from that and totals. It's awesome. I should send it to you. In fact, I'll do it right now.
No, there's no really should. You please do send it to me. I'd like to give you a hug, Brian, in a very friendly way. Just friendly. I just want to hug you, Brian. This is good stuff. And
yeah,
I don't know. That's awesome, man. But yeah. So, anyways, this is not personal finance, but I wanted to budget's always a great word, and I love to hear we in regard to the budget. So you have that item, your financial freedom. I love that little category name for it, and you have that money in there. So go ahead with that. I don't even know where we were because I'm just so flabbergasted right now.
Okay, yeah. So I was reading all these books about the stock market just because I like I said, I didn't know anything about it, and I was actually, some of them were really awesome, just for information about how it actually works. And some of them had some strategies in it, but I wasn't really paying attention to the strategies. I was literally just trying to research how does the market work. And then so I started researching brokers, like I said before, just for education purposes. But eventually thinking I will eventually use that brokerage to start trading with. And that's when I came across SureTrader.
Oh no!
So
Chezzy.
don't worry, I didn't open an account with SureTrader.
no.
But so I'm looking into SureTrader. I'm like, oh, you can fund an account with SureTrader. And then we have this. My wife's sister lives in England, so we got this credit card so we could accrue points. To see her. So I'm like, oh, you can fund a SureTrader account with a credit card? I'm like, huh. It seems really fishy.
Oh,
no. I do a ton of research before I put money anywhere, and I'll show you what I did to actually vet you guys. So I went online, I found different reviews of SureTrader. I made sure to scroll down and make sure they weren't affiliates of SureTrader, and that's when I came across Clay's videos. Because the first time I saw Clay was he was doing a review of SureTrader, and he was just ripping it to shreds. I'm like, who is this guy in a white T-shirt and a chalkboard? Because I'm a teacher.
By the way, I just don't look for that video anymore because SureTrader sent me some like massive cease and desist letter that I was lying, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, it's not even worth it. So that video no longer
walked up to his
exists.
door.
Yeah, so I know exactly. And SureTrader apparently was not happy with that
I can
because it started to
imagine.
get too many views. And I just was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not. But it was all honest stuff. But anyways, I just want to throw that out there. Listeners, do not waste your time trying to find it.
Okay, well,
It doesn't
so I
exist
saw that
anymore.
review, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. But Clay intrigued me at that point, so I started watching all of his other videos. So I went ahead and decided to open an account with TD Ameritrade because they were like the highest rated for education, and so I started ripping through their education. Oh, I guess I should back up. This is about 2015, the fall of 2015. And so I just start tearing through their education and trying to get through as much as possible. And I was actually, at the time, I was focused on dividend-paying stocks because I was looking at more investing than I was day trading. But then the more I learned about day trading or just trading other, different avenues, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then I always avoided options because I watched the options video on TD Ameritrade and it was confusing. It was so confusing. I was like, what? nope, I'm just gonna stay away from this. It's too complicated.
Well, that's what I was wondering too, because they were primarily an options brokerage for the longest time. But I'm glad they have education on dividend stocks and just stocks in general, because I thought for a long time it was really focused on options. So but that's okay.
No, their
that
education was awesome for like a foundational perspective, but it didn't really teach me how to trade, and that's what I was ultimately looking for. And so during this time, my wife and I are putting away money every month towards our financial freedom account. I start looking into more of a day trading training, and so I came across and you guys. Am I allowed to say names? Okay. Sure, I came across and you guys, Clay Trader, and so I started vetting both of you. And when I say vetting, like I set up dummy emails and emailed you guys from different email accounts to see if your answers were consistent. I emailed you from different IP addresses.
Holy crap, you vetted.
I looked up. I watched every review on Clay Trader I could. I found the Clay Trader curse. I was like, well, that's stupid. I didn't buy into that, just so you know. But yeah, so I sent you guys a ton of chats from different IP addresses, different computers, different emails, because I'm really paranoid about scams. I hate scams. So all that being said, at the time, my account, our financial freedom account, was right around $2,000, and the Clay Trader University was right around $2,000. So I talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, I found this guy Clay Trader. It seems like they've tapped into something awesome here. What do you think about me go ahead and purchasing this university and start going through these courses, help me learn how to day trade? And she was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I ended up doing that. Kind of.
What year is this?
So I went through the Ameritrade training, basically to the spring of 2016, and then so that summer of 2016, I took my lawnmower. You're gonna love this. I took my lawnmower and just started mowing people's lawns, because I'm a teacher and so I have the summers off. So I hear him say that all the time. I'm like, I actually did that. So took my lawnmower, bought a trailer for super cheap off Craigslist, went around, mowed. I had like 4 lawns a day. I made a ton of money over the summer doing that. Then in the fall of 2016, that's when I bought Clay Trader University.
But Clay, but Chezz, I don't have any money. The world's rigged against me. Oh, woe is me. Where's my victim deck in my back pocket? Here, take these cards. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Goodness, here we go. Literal 4 lawns a day in the summer, mowing lawns, creating cash. I don't want to hear your crap. I don't want to hear excuses. But Clay, no, then this is not the first person. Chezz, we got ourselves another data point, don't we?
We do. That was the most epic rant by you. That was
I'm just
so
sick
good.
of it.
Yeah.
I am so
fired up.
sick of the excuses. And this is not because he bought my course. That has nothing to do with it. Go buy somebody else's course. That's cool too if you feel more comfortable with them. But this whole excuse about, well, I have to become a degenerate gambler because my account's too small and I can't afford to learn how to do anything the right, so I'm just going to have to go big or go home because my account's too small. You know how to grow an account just like Brian did right there. You trade ticker symbol JOB, and that's how you grow an account. So I just don't want to hear it. Go mow some lawns. I can't remember who it was. I remember the guy that was putting up fences in the rain at one point. And then we have Mario, who's driving heavy equipment at weird hours, picking up cash. And then we have, who was it? Just I don't even remember what his name was right now, but the guy that started selling batteries. I don't want to hear your excuses about woe is me. I don't want to hear it. Chezz, you're going to have to take over because I'm losing it over here. This is... Man, like I said, Brian, I want to give you a hug. That's all I got to say. So keep on going. Before I forget, though. So you were sending up all these dummy accounts because you're paranoid. and you're wanting to make sure answers were consistent. I would assume that answers were consistent across the board.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You guys.
I guess you kind of glanced across. I mean, how was the vetting process? I mean, what did we pass? I mean, obviously we passed, but
yeah.
I mean, you were happy with it and everything.
Yeah. So the only thing I wasn't too excited about is at the time you didn't offer a money back guarantee, and which
this was a while ago, right?
Yeah. So this that was in. But what the funny thing is as soon right after I got the CTU, you guys started offering a money back guarantee. I was like, well, what the heck? But it didn't matter because
we were just trying to swindle you the whole way, you know.
Yeah,
right.
We waited until you signed up.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Right. Well, so the funny thing is, I actually talked to Clay, I talked to Chezz, I talked to IT Nate, I think, on different occasions. You guys all, your answers were consistent across the board, no matter what I asked. So, yeah, no, you guys did a great job.
You didn't catch me trying to charge you an extra $500 for something and then pocketing the change? I mean, no, I'm glad you didn't tell Clay that.
No, but I don't know if you remember, Chezz, but I specifically asked for the amount of hours, to the hour of all the training total.
Didn't I total it up for you too?
Yes, I believe so. Because I was
I cracked out the calculator and I got to just start remembering it. But I literally cracked out the calculator and went through all my folders of videos. So good, I'm glad I passed that.
Yeah, no, I was
nice.
because I want to know. And honestly, I mean, now that I'm in it, I think there's more value than just the courses. I mean, you have all the webinars and the podcast and all that, which I think is awesome. But anyways, we'll get to that in a bit. I don't remember where I was.
You were going to mention
you got the trailer,
and then then you mentioned something about too, and that why didn't you go with him? Or I thought you were going to maybe talk about that too. Or
so I don't know. It just seemed. Maybe it was a personality thing. It didn't seem like you seemed more genuine. I'll say that. You seemed.
Well, thank you.
It seemed like this guy just looks to like he's just trying to be an entrepreneur, make some money, and help other people
and
make
put
money.
A time limit on everything.
Yeah. So, and that,
I mean, what?
That was the one thing
that.
I was like, why do I have a time limit? What? Which I don't know if they still have that, but they did when I was looking
because at it. You already nailed it. He's an entrepreneur trying to and so am I, don't get me wrong, but
right.
It's one thing to say you want to help somebody. Well, if you want to truly help somebody, then why would you say, but you only have a limited time and then I take it back from you? How is that helping anybody? That's just forcing them to rush through stuff too quick. So apples and oranges in terms of entrepreneurs, but yeah, we won't go down that. Let me just say this. I think you may be the first time to ever bring up, I don't know, maybe we'll have to have Nate beep out the name because I know he sent other people that write out bad reviews, cease and desist letters. So
yeah, and
this is a great interview, so I don't want to risk having this taken down. So maybe we'll have to have Nate block out the actual name. Sorry, Nate. But job security for him. But I don't need another cease and desist showing up from him because people are actually talking the truth about things. But Chezz, back me up here. Brian is not the first person to bring up this certain person, this certain trading guru out there that's had some pretty uneasy feelings and experiences with, right, Chezz?
Absolutely. He's one of many, but I do want to commend you, Brian, for just the amount of due diligence you do. Will go over most people's heads. So I'm glad you noticed all this stuff and didn't have to go down the path like some people have and unfortunately, lose their hard-earned money in it. So glad you ended up here.
Oh, yeah, no. My biggest pet peeve is liars, and I just hate it. So, so I ended up getting with Clay Trader, and this is about fall of 2016 because the summer I was working and just trying to make money to build up a trading account. And I started tearing through the Clay Trader courses. I did robotic. I did the penny stock first. Then I did, which I was interested in penny stocks. And sorry, let me back up. That's actually how I got back to looking into Clay Trader because I looked into penny stocks and I saw a bunch of videos that Clay did on penny stocks. And then I discovered about the pump and dump. And then I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do penny stocks, but when I actually got into Clay Trader, I started with penny stock, then I did robotic trading, then I did skill sharpening. I did print out the sheets.
Excellent.
And I went through that. I actually skipped the trend trading one though, because I was
what?
I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident in recognizing trends, at least. And so my biggest thing going in, like, it was so funny because I would watch a video. I'm like, well, yeah, but how do you know when to enter? And then the next video, you would answer my question. So I was like, oh, well, this is perfect. Seems like he knew what he was doing.
Good.
Or
good.
like you knew you've done it before. So
Could you tell that maybe I'm a process engineer in my former life, and I'm kind of like trained to set up a process of how to go from step A to B to C? Could you?
Oh yeah,
Did you kind of get that feeling? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And my dad was a civil engineer, and growing up with him, I'm a science teacher, and science and engineering, there are very similar mindsets. So I was loving it. Although
Good.
sometimes I did fall asleep while I was listening to you, because you have a very soothing voice. But
Well, Brian, I'd love to give you a hug sometime. So.
oh, I don't know about
boy.
Oh man.
Okay, well,
whatever. We're on episode who knows what. I don't care anymore. I'm saying whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Keep on going, Brian.
Anyways, okay, yeah. So I'm probably doing too much too fast because I end up getting burnt out. Because I go to school, do my teaching job, come home, and then I'm like watching videos for the next couple hours, and so I'm saturating myself with your content, and I'm loving it. But then I'm like, man, but I don't have money to trade with. I'm not gonna just take what little I have and trade it and throw it away. That's stupid. So my plan was, so in the fall of 2016, my plan was to go live in the summer of 2017. So that gives me like 6 to 8 months to like finish the content and paper trade and start trading in the summer of 2017. And so probably about December of 16, I kind of take a break because I've just done it for me. I just was, it was too much. And so probably about, what was that, 3 months maybe? So probably about March, I start going back into it. And then instead of trading in the summer, I got another job with an accounting firm, actually my brother's accounting firm, and because of the job, I couldn't trade just because of the time of the job that happened. Although I was looking into swing trading, but anyways. So I was working with my brother, and then in the summer, I got back into the stock, into your content and your education with a different focus of swing trading, just because as a teacher, I can't really sit at my desk and just watch the stock market while I'm teaching. Because even if the kids are...
Well, you could, but you shouldn't.
Right.
Let's just leave it at that.
Right.
The. Anybody know what movie that's from? Dumb and Dumber.
No.
Dumb and Dumber.
Of course it is. It's always a safe guess.
It is.
Yeah. But anyway, so... in fact, some of my students are interested in the stock market. So if like in the last like minute or two of class and we're not doing anything, we'll talk about it. But I can monitor the stock market on my plans. I get 2 plans a day. So but because of that, I was more focused on swing trading, using the info or the stuff I learned in your courses to swing trade. And my plan was to do that in the fall of 2017. Okay, so I'm working a job during the summer of 2017, and we get to close to the end of July. Then August happens, and then I don't know if you know anything about Oklahoma, but we're in the middle of Tornado Alley, and my house got hit by a tornado the day before school started.
Wow.
Clyde, I think you remember I emailed you about this. I don't know if I can say I think you remember, but I did email you about it. But so my wife and I are in my bedroom. We're sleeping, right? It was about 1 a.m. No sirens or anything. And all of a sudden, a tree comes through our bedroom while we're sleeping in it. And so we wake up. I'm freaking out because I thought I live in a house that was built in the 50s, and the trees around us are massive. So I wake up to a tree cracking. I thought the whole tree was coming down. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we're about to die. And so I'm yelling. I'm telling my wife, like, come on, we have to get out. And then all of a sudden, just this loud boom, like a gunshot went off to my next to my head. This tree comes through our bedroom. Anyway, so that displaces us for like 5 weeks. And one of the reasons that I didn't start trading in the fall was insurance was great. They covered most everything. But Once they actually ripped out like the drywall and they ripped all the damaged part away and started repairing it, they discovered that my house had no insulation throughout it didn't have insulation. And so we were like, man, that's something we should probably have. Insulation.
That's generally a staple of house building. So
right.
I'm going to assume that they made you pay for the insulation since you didn't have it prior.
Yes, 100%. So they fixed the insulation in the one wall that was crushed, and in the attic they fixed that because that's where the tree came through. But so my wife and I sat down with our future predicting budget, and we tried to move around funds to see, man, can we actually pay to have insulation put in? Because it was going to be about $2,500 to get it in the whole house. And the only place I had $2,500 was the trading account. So my wife and I decided to pull that money out of the trading account to put insulation in our house. And I remember being super discouraged about it, but I also remember being like, you know what? This just gives me an opportunity to continue to paper trade, master my techniques, and move on from there. And I do remember I remember the day I was in my kitchen and we decided to do it. And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm only I'm 29. We have a lot of life ahead of us. We'll get there eventually. So that was a bummer because, that was the fall of 2017.
Okay, fall of 2017. But first off, I really want to think that I would remember an email where like, yeah, I just got hit by a tornado, but I if I can be honest, I don't quite remember, but
it's fine.
I'm just glad you're okay. I mean,
yeah.
That sounded pretty intense.
Yeah, seriously.
You literally thought you were going to die. Like, and at that point, like that thought, I don't think I've ever had that thought. Like, I think I'm going to die, but it was the most crazy.
Terrifying experience of my life.
So was it the tornado that actually, just how close did the actual tornado get to your house? Just obviously within a mile, or I mean, do you know?
So it came down on top, like so. You don't know streets, but basically, I live at 41st. No, I live at 51st, and the tornado landed at 41st, so it's a mile away. Wow. They said on the news, like they didn't call it a tornado for the next day or so, even though it followed one of the streets in Tulsa and wiped out a ton of buildings. But anyways, so they actually showed the path and where the tornado first started forming, and it was directly above our house.
So that would explain why there's no sirens or anything then, because they were literally...
Well, the thing is Oklahoma has one of the best weather detection systems in the nation because we're right in the middle of, like, just because of our geographic location. I mean, it was weird. Honestly, I think someone dropped the ball because they should have noticed that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to blame anyone or anything, but
you're okay, and that's what counts.
Right? Yeah, I'm okay. Insurance paid for everything mostly. And actually, we ended up getting wood floors. They redid our entire wood floors in our house, so that was nice.
Well, way to find the silver lining. That's a good way to go through life.
You had more time to paper trade now, so I'm assuming, Did you hop back into that once the house and everything was put back together?
Yeah, so we lived in a hotel for 5 weeks, and so this is awesome. So because we had drained our account now twice, I am saying, you know what? Because up until this point, I've only had a second job in the summers, and my wife had a second job in the summers. And so, man, this is really frustrating. I want to build this account faster. So,
what does your wife do in the summer, real quick, out of curiosity?
What did she do last summer? She works at an outdoor store because we're backpackers. We go camping. This past summer, we went on the plan was a 7-day backpacking trip, but the weather was just awful, so we're like, screw this, let's go home. So we did. But yeah, so she works at an outdoor store. But back then, she actually walked dogs for people to get paid.
You guys are hustlers. I love both of you. I'm not going to rant this time, but there you go, people. I don't want to hear your excuses. Just get creative. That's ticker symbol JOB, and awesome. Anyway, so She's
yeah,
out
so-
getting the money, and you pick it up from there.
Yeah, so we drain the trading account to pay for the installation, and then in the fall of 2017, I talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, what if we both got second jobs while we're teaching? And she was like, absolutely not. I'm like, okay, let's think about it a little longer than that. And so we actually talked to our mentors about, hey, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh, I'm all for it. Yeah, do it. These are your working years. These are when you have to, build that nest egg. And so finally, and both my wife is on board for both of us getting second jobs during teaching, so we could fund the account and start trading. So that's when she got a job at the outdoor store, and I actually got a job at a local pizza restaurant, not delivering pizzas, but it's, if you're ever in Oklahoma, you have to go to Hideaway. It's one of the best pizza places in Oklahoma, in my opinion. But they make specialty pizzas. I got a job there, wasn't really working out, so I switched to cutting down trees and clearing land for a family at my school. And so both of us are working second jobs to try and build up this account. And at the time, so
what time was this? I want to assign some real practicalness to this for listeners. So because I'm very anti-excuse. So you work for when is your teaching job? What time?
So I have to get up at 6:30 to get to school on time. But okay, yeah. So I'll just tell you the schedule, and then I'll tell you what it's morphed into. So 6:30. I get up, and then I have to be at school by 7, so I get ready pretty quick. That may not be enough time for some people, but whatever. Then I'm there till...
You're a guy. You're good.
Right,
good.
yeah. I wake up, my hair's
Pants are
how it
overrated
is.
anyways. As long as you have underwear on, nobody even notices. It's not a big deal.
And yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, I almost said something really inappropriate. But anyways, moving on.
Yeah, you're a teacher. Let's keep it... Yeah, there we go. Let's keep moving.
So at school by 7, and then have to be at school till 3:30, then quickly run home, change into my tree cutting clothes, and then there at my second job by 4, and then there till 7, come home and about 7:15, eat dinner, and then look at the market, what they did today, probably for the next hour or so. So probably about like 8:30 or 9, I am not doing anything. I call that free time, and then bed by 10.
There it is, Chezz. What do you think about that?
No excuses.
Yes, exactly. There it is. That's called using your time. Although, Brian, what's this free time garbage? You should be, I don't know, mowing
Listening to
some lawns or
podcasts.
something. Yeah, you should.
Listen to
Mowing lawns
podcasts.
while you listen to the podcast. I don't like to hear this 2-hour free nonsense.
Well, it's not
And
2
no.
hours. It's like an hour and a half for an hour.
Well,
And you probably need that to decompress after working
yeah,
two
no,
jobs.
that's awesome,
I give
man.
you permission, Brian. You guys are doing it like you're role models for people. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I 100% agree. This is awesome stuff, and why I'm asking so much, because you guys are role models. That's perfect summary of how do you approach wanting to gain more money to do something, not even trading, just anything in life. So
Yeah.
you're working 2 jobs, your wife's working 2 jobs, and you're just, is all this extra cash flow going right back into your freedom fund, or is that money getting dispersed elsewhere too?
It's some of it's going to the freedom fund. Some of it is going. We actually had to accrue a little bit of a debt because we found out our house wasn't treated for termites, so we needed to get it treated for termites. So that was like, I don't remember how much that was, but we went into a little bit. That's already paid off by now, though. But so we had to put some of it towards that, and then the other is for our emergency fund, which I think you guys call it the rainy day fund. But we're trying to build that up to $13,000. So, trying to do that at the same time as building the trading account. So,
Now I want to ask you this. So while you're working these 2 jobs, are you still paper trading, swing trading, or is trading kind of on the back burner while you kind of get everything else in order?
no, so actually the way I determine how long I'm going to stay at work is how many podcasts I finish. So I'm listening to, I think I listened to about 3 podcasts while I'm cutting down trees, and then when that third one's done, I'm like, okay, time to go home. But to answer your question, I'm paper trading, swing trading. Like, we have a whiteboard in my office where I have written down, like, actually, this is a paper trade from last week that I did. I have the ticker, the entry, the exit, the stop loss, the how much it costs, all that stuff, and I wrote that down so my wife could see it. But yes, I was paper trading, swing trading, because my plan was to swing trade, because I'm a teacher.
So he's technically doing 3 jobs. He's working 2 jobs, and he's working on his trading. So that's what I was trying to hit at. I knew for a fact that you can still pull off swing trading on the side, because it definitely takes some time, but it doesn't take as much as day trading, that's for sure. So
right.
Okay, so you're still practicing at the same time. I love this. Keep going.
And I did, because I'd listened to so many podcasts, I had heard you guys talk about making sure you paper trade correctly. So I made sure, I started with the right amount, and I was keeping my size small. Which, I'm telling you what, man, your podcast, I think I may have emailed or something, and like, your podcasts and your webinars can definitely keep people from making a lot of mistakes that they don't need to, because they're just learning from other people. But anyways, so there's a plug for Clay Trader real quick.
Thank you very much.
So I lost my train of thought.
You were paper trading. Then you were listening to the podcast, and you learned a lot from the podcast about paper trading and wanting to do it right. So you made sure that you had enough in your account. Is that ringing a bell?
Oh yeah, okay.
You had the right amount. Yeah. Let me ask you this though, and I'll let you kind of fill in the listeners here, because what do you mean by the right amount? What is paper trading done right? What does that even mean? So what were you doing that in your mind made it quote unquote right?
I was paper trading with the beginning balance of what I will start with when I go live.
Boom. Bingo.
So, and then, so I was trying to keep I think I started with 100 shares, and then I scaled up from there as I was successful. I think I went in increments of 100. So I started with 100, went to 2, then 3, then 4. And then ended up getting up to 1,000 shares at one point, which obviously you can make more at 1,000 shares. But while I'm listening and working on my second job, I still because I have a small account, I still ran into this problem where, okay, if I ever wanted to trade Apple, I mean, that's, well, I don't even know what Apple's at right now. I don't have it open. But
170 probably right now.
Yeah. So if I wanted to do that, that's $170 for one stock. Or one share, I mean. So that's not really, like, with my small account, that doesn't give me a whole lot of options to, see what I did there?
I did. I'm impressed right now. I'm just trying to hold back my excitement.
They give me a whole lot of options to actually trade, and like, especially if you're looking at Tesla or these other stocks that have bigger moves. So while I'm working my job, listening to podcasts, you guys start talking about options. And I'm like, man, you know what? Maybe I should give options another try. And because remember, when I was doing TD Ameritrade stuff, it was just so confusing. And I'm like, no, that's too complicated. I'm not doing that. So I
did want to ask about that. You went through that TD Ameritrade stuff, and I've always wondered, but you pretty much, it was worth it, or was it more confusing than worth it? What's your kind of assessment on that?
Oh, you mean after I did the CTU stuff, like looking back?
Right, yeah, just in comparison.
I would say the education that they give is fantastic for a foundational, this is how the stock market works, and this is how, like, a long-term investing and how dividends work and how all these things work. But it's not, they don't really go into how to do it. They just say, this is it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Nope, that's good. That's interesting. So I appreciate that feedback. And it sounds like they make options overly complicated. Is that a fair understanding of what you said?
For me, it was. I mean, maybe for some people, it's exactly what they need to hear. But for me, it was a little bit more complicated. So I had actually skipped your options courses. Those are the ones I didn't go through. I mean, I did robotic. I did risk versus RVR. I did skill sharpening. I did pretty much all of them except for the options. And so,
because you thought they were too complicated?
Yeah. Even though your title was options simplified, I was like, well, I mean, he's been doing it for forever, so of course they're simple for him. But listening to your podcast, I'm like, you know what? I should give that another shot. So I went and watched your options course. I was like, this is it? Wait, really?
It's really this simple?
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? And I can do what? Because my problem was, I was like, man, it's going to take me forever to save $25,000 to get past the pattern day trader rule. I'm a teacher. I mean, that's like, well, anyways. Yeah, so it'd take me forever. So I'm like, man, options seem like a great option. So I go through your course. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot more simple than I thought it was. Why did I think it was so complicated? So I go through your options course. I haven't gone through the advanced options training yet, but I start paper trading options, and I did the whole, you line out a paper trading method in there.
So you actually went through that guide that's part of the course?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I swear, there's a lot of people I come across like, did you actually go through the guide the way I set up the paper trading guide? Well, no. Or, well, yeah,
I just
for a few days.
Videos.
Well, it's like, well, you're not, that's not, the guide in the course is the guide.
Right.
Follow the instructions. So good. I'm glad to hear you went through the guide to get the full effect of what's intended for that.
Right. So, my thought with that is, I paid for this course. Why would I not do what I paid for?
Well, a lot of people are anxious.
Amen.
A lot of people want to get going, and that's the catch-22. We talk about it all the time. The market, if you want to succeed, you have to be an ambitious person, but there's dumb ambition and there's smart ambition, and sometimes people go the dumb ambition route, and they're like, well, I just want to go. I've watched the videos. Yeah, I'll follow this guide for like a week when that's just not what the paper trading guide says to do.
Right, right.
So good. Yeah, I like that logic. Get your money's worth.
Yeah, so I'm actually getting, so at, when was this? This was about a month ago, maybe? A month ago, I'm like rounding out, like I'm finishing going through your paper trading plan, where I saw the whole cycle and all that stuff. And I become like, there was 1 week on paper, and so I don't remember if you specified this or not, but I was watching the level 2s to make sure, like, if I was getting in with 2 contracts, if I was selling, I was making sure that someone was actually selling 2 contracts. So I was making sure I was watching level 2s to make sure I could actually get out at, like, if I did a market order or something.
It's about as real as it can get, right?
Yeah,
there.
so because I did not want to have a fake success, because I'm starting with a small account. If I have fake success in paper trading, then if I go to real live trading, I'm going to lose it all. Then I'm like, well, I have to start this whole process over again. So I didn't want to do that. So I finished the cycle, and then I continued to paper trade because I'm like, well, I'm still teaching, so I can't really day trade options yet, and because I have not practiced swing trading options, because I don't really quite fully understand how the theta plays into that. Like, I understand what theta is, but like I don't know how that fully affects the.
I know I'm going to jump in here, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If you want to swing trade options, I'd highly recommend you go through the advanced options course when you find some time, because in my opinion, that's the best way to swing trade options. We have people who do it with regular long calls or puts, but with the advanced options for like a swing trading thing, especially with how busy you are, that's what I always recommend. But anyways, you can keep going. I'm just going to tell you for the future, now you have more homework to do.
Well, yeah, so, well, where am I? So I'm looking into options. I actually get super successful trading or paper trading options. And this is where I think I kind of messed up a little bit, because instead of swing trading options, I was paper trading day trading options. And I was doing it like during my plans. And then there was 1 week where I made like $3,000 on paper, and I was like, dang. And then that Saturday was the hardest day I ever worked at my second job, because I'm like, I'm making $15 an hour here, and by the time I'm done with my shift, so I work 10 hours on Saturdays, I'll make $150, and I made this much in like an hour in the stock market. Wow, this is really hard.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.